The pressure came from the Netherworld beast's body, but even more so from the cold and ruthless gleam in its eyes. This ruthlessness was one of indifference, indifferent to life and death, reincarnation, time, and all living beings. In its gaze, all living beings seemed insignificant. It was the heavenly Tao, the true deity of this abode realm. Everything here, from the cultivators to the ferocious beasts, had originated from it. Like flying ash, they were nothing in comparison. Similarly, the pressure also came from Wang, who sat cross-legged atop the Netherworld beast. Though he sat there in calm silence, the aura emanating from him felt as though he were an immortal deity. Wang possessed the Tao ancient bloodline, a bloodline so noble that even a madman's immortal bloodline could not compare. Despite still being from the abode realm, Wang could look down on all living beings, even on the immortal firmament continent. The Netherworld beast moved without sound, or, perhaps more accurately, it did not move at all. The stars themselves shifted, as though wherever it wished to go in the starry sky, it could do so with a mere thought. For this sky, for everything here, belonged to it. Wang sat there calmly, gently stroking the Netherworld beast. His mind was flooded with memories of Tianyunzi. I never expected that the beast I reclaimed all those years ago would be a part of the heavenly Tao. Tianyunzi is also part of the heavenly Tao. No wonder he reveres the path of fate. The fate he believes in is actually himself, Wang muttered, gazing down at the Netherworld beast, a deep sense of emotion in his eyes. Back then, the seven-colored immortal lord obtained the fragment that flew out from the primordial divine realm. That fragment was for storage, but within it, he discovered the heavenly Tao. Perhaps even Tian and I discovered it as well. Thus, the compass plate appeared. Everyone is searching for the heavenly Tao. The seven-colored Taoist, War Ghost, and the rest, they seek the third soul, not only to merge it, but also to grasp the heavenly Tao. And that storage fragment the seven-colored immortal lord found. By sheer coincidence, I became the lord of the heavenly Tao. From this moment on, I am the master of the heavenly Tao. I cannot say for sure about the immortal firmament continent, but within this abode realm, no one can steal the heavenly Tao from me. The heavenly Tao should be complete now. It was capable of devouring Lien Daofei back then, and now I wonder who dares provoke me to become the first to be devoured by the heavenly Tao after the eternal eons, my enemies. A powerful confidence surged from Wang's body as he gazed at the distant starry sky, his eyes sparkling with brilliance. Without releasing his divine sense, Wang allowed the Netherworld beast to drift through the starry sky at will. His eyes closed as he placed his hands in a mudra on his knees, breathing deeply. Then, suddenly, he opened his eyes, bit his tongue, and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The blood was a deep red, floating before him, synchronized with the movement of the Netherworld beast beneath him. The blood squirmed, radiating an intense glow, as if boiling, with waves of fragrance emanating from it. Since my clone dissipated, I'll condense another one. This clone will be formed from my blood, and it shall embody the eternal great Tao. Wang muttered, raising his right hand to point at the blood. At his gesture, the blood squirmed more rapidly, expanding and slowly taking the shape of a figure. Yet, it was shrouded in blood red, looking like a blood-wrapped human. My blood contains Tao ancient power. For this clone to form, I must extract the Tao ancient power from it. This should not be difficult. Wang's eyes flickered. His 3 clan star points suddenly appeared on his forehead and eyes, spinning as they released a strong pull. The moment the blood figure was covered by the pull, it twisted, as if thin, smoke-like wisps of energy were leaking out from it, entering the 3 clan stars within Wang. The process was quick, about the time it takes for a stick of incense to burn. All the Tao ancient power was removed from the blood figure, and the blood now contained no Tao ancient aura. With the separation of the Tao ancient energy, the blood figure's red glow flickered. As it twisted, the blood's color slowly faded. What appeared before Wang was a clone that looked exactly like him, down to the finest detail. This clone seemed as if it were newly born. Although it appeared to be an adult, it lacked a soul, just a body. Soul condensation. Wang pressed his right hand to his forehead, and a part of his soul immediately split off. entering the clone through its 7 orifices. Slowly, as Wang Lin's soul merged with the clone's body, it felt as though they were one, inseparable. Having completed the task, Wang Lin's expression grew weary, and he slowly closed his eyes as if falling into a deep sleep. At the moment his main body's eyes closed, his clone's eyes suddenly snapped open, glowing with brilliance. It looked down at the newly formed body, and Wang Lin's expression remained calm. His right hand lifted, pointing to the starry sky. Scattered throughout this starry sky, the flame origin I've comprehended, return. At the moment those words left his mouth, centered around the Netherworld beast, flames suddenly appeared throughout the vast starry sky. The flames grew more and more, eventually merging into one continuous sea of fire. From afar, it looked as though the starry sky itself was burning, and a roaring inferno surged toward the heavens. The firestorm formed a circular ring, swirling around Wang Lin. Flames gathered from all directions of the boundless starry sky, creating a scene like a mighty wave crashing, with constant thunderous roars. Soon, as the flames approached Wang Lin, it seemed as if his left eye transformed into a black hole that devoured the fire. The entire inferno, roaring violently, surged into his left eye. In the blink of an eye, the sea of fire in the starry sky vanished, and a fiery mark, the essence of fire origin, flickered in Wang Lin's left eye. By merging with the thunder origin in the starry sky, I am the Lord of Thunder. With each moment of enlightenment, I call you back to your true form. Wang Lin spoke softly, his right hand sweeping forward. With that motion, the starry sky trembled, waves of ripples spreading outward from the spot where the fire had dissipated. From a distant place, a low rumble echoed, growing louder and closer. In a moment, the thunderous sound of lightning replaced every other noise in the starry sky. The roar was deafening. Under this thunder, lightning bolts appeared in the sky like a divine tribulation. The bolts connected in great chains, boundless and wild, roaring toward Wang Lin. In an instant, all the lightning converged on Wang Lin's right eye, each bolt crashing in. With each fusion, countless arcs of electricity swirled around Wang Lin's body. The electricity seemed to cheer, rejoicing at its return to control. Soon, all the lightning in the sky vanished, and in Wang Lin's right eye, the mark of undying lightning manifested. 2 primal origins, fire in the left eye, thunder in the right. The void origin I comprehended within my 1,000-year dream path carries the essence of my life's realm and the great Tao. You were born from my understanding, and though you dissipate now, you may also return and recondense. The first to return is life and death. Wang Lin murmured, extending both hands. My left hand for life, my right hand for death. As time flows, my Tao heart remains unchanged. From Wang Lin's left hand, a faint white mist emanated, curling around his hand and gradually radiating a soft white glow. It was vitality, the life force of Wang Lin, a part of the life and death origin he had comprehended over 2,000 years. At the same time, black mist swirled around Wang Lin's right hand, forming a dark mass of energy. Within that black mist existed decay and death, as if his right hand could extract souls from the depths of hell. As the black and white energies permeated the air, they traveled up his arms, eventually converging at his brow. There, they fused and began to slowly rotate, like the balance of yin and yang. The life and death origin had returned. The energy in Wang Lin's body surged immensely. The second to return is the truth and falsehood origin. Truth and illusion. This is life itself. Wang Lin mused for a moment, recalling Tian Yunzi and feeling somewhat emotional. As his words echoed, his body took on an ethereal form, as if no longer real. Especially his eyes, which became like the starry sky itself. Anyone who gazed into them would lose themselves, unable to tell the difference between pupil and iris. When I close my eyes, everything is false. When I open them, everything is real. Wang Lin murmured, closing his eyes. In his mind, everything in the world, the abode realm, the third soul, even the Netherworld beast, vanished. The entire starry sky, in Wang Lin's perception, was now nothing but illusion. When he opened his eyes again, the The truth and falsehood origin had solidified. As Wang Lin focused on reassembling the primal essence of his cultivator avatar, the netherworld beast beneath him continued to move forward, gradually leaving Zhao River behind and arriving at the Cloud Sea Star domain. At this very moment, within the Cloud Sea Star domain, a group of people were speeding through the starry sky. Leading them were 4 elders, surrounded by hundreds of others. They flew through the sky, sending out ripples that resonated with force. The strongest auras emanated from the 4 leaders, who seemed to be connected by some form of divine technique. As they advanced, a massive gourd appeared above their heads, glowing a deep green, showing signs of ancient wear. The gourd's opening was surrounded by a mist of green energy, as if it were guiding them forward. The 4 elders barely made any progress without stopping, bowing in unison to the gourd above them. Their spiritual senses merged, as if communicating with the gourd. These 4 elders were none other than the 4 great generals of the ancient immortal domain. Following behind them, at a distance, was a battle-worn ghost wearing Taoist robes, his demeanor calm and unconcerned. He casually trailed behind the group of immortals, who, in turn, paid no attention to his presence. If this were outside the abode realm, there might be some clues, but within this realm, it is absolute. Even Elder Lian Daofei couldn't sense the existence of the path of the heavens in advance and was thus devoured. This shows how subtle it is. Despite the netherworld beast appearing in the Cloud Sea Star domain, even War Ghost didn't notice a thing. As for the 4 great generals and others, they were equally unaware. Although their divine senses spread wide enough to cover the entire Cloud Sea Star domain, they couldn't detect the netherworld beast. Not even Wang Lin, who was sitting cross-legged atop it, had any clue. This was also the reason why Tian Yunzi, despite being in Zhao River for centuries, went unnoticed. On the back of the netherworld beast, Wang Lin's main body was meditating with his eyes closed, while his doppelganger was focusing on consolidating his origin. The traces of this origin condensed in the starry sky and couldn't remain hidden, eventually being noticed by the 4 great generals and many immortals in the Cloud Sea. However, no matter how they searched with their divine senses, they found no trace of the netherworld beast. To them, it was just a peaceful stretch of the starry sky. Even War Ghost, who was following the ancient immortals, frowned and looked toward the distance, but in the end, still found nothing. This is strange. War Ghost's eyes flashed, and he fell into deep thought. Wang Lin was unaware of all this. His main body slept, rapidly recovering, while his doppelganger focused solely on consolidating the origin, with no time to consider anything else. As the truth and illusion origin appeared, Wang Lin's doppelganger raised his right hand and slowly opened his palm. The 3rd void origin is cause and effect. Open the hand for cause, close it for effect. As the cause and effect origin emerged from the starry sky and condensed into his palm, it merged into Wang Lin's body. Soon after, the slaughter and seal origins were also drawn out and fused back into his body, slowly operating within him. The 7 great origins now circulated smoothly. As they circulated, Wang Lin's essence spirit was recreated from the origins, returning everything within him to its state before the collapse. The only difference was the absence of Tian Yunzi's doppelganger soul. At the moment his doppelganger fully restored, Wang Lin's main body opened his eyes and locked gazes with it. After a moment, his doppelganger flickered and merged with the main body in a series of sounds as the two fully fused into one. Wang Lin's eyes sparkled, and after moving his body slightly and feeling no discomfort, he looked up at the distant stars. Now that I have the qualifications to hunt the deer, I must go to the 5-element star. That place holds too many secrets. It's where the last hidden force in the abode realm lies, one that lurks in the shadows, just like Tian Yunzi's earlier thoughts. He paused for a moment. If you like hiding in the shadows, then I'll force you out and show you that this abode realm doesn't belong to any of you outsiders. Once he forces this last hidden power out, the battle for the 3rd soul within the abode realm would officially begin. In Wang Lin's eyes, Tian Yunzi was like a nail that must be pulled out. If not, a series of uncertainties might arise, any one of which could be deadly. And indeed, with Tian Yunzi's uncertainty destroyed, The next nail would be the outsiders from the Immortal Ridge Unity sect. These outsiders were the second nail. Pull them out of the shadows and into the light. This was a game, a hunt for the deer, as Wang Lin saw it. Let's see who can find the third soul first. As Wang Lin mused, the netherworld beast beneath him slowly advanced, heading deeper into the Cloud Sea Star domain. As Wang Lin's thoughts stirred, the netherworld beast closed its terrifying eyes and immediately changed direction, heading toward Kungsu. But at that moment, Wang Lin suddenly gave a soft exclamation and turned to look into the distance, his eyes flashing. In the distant starry sky, after a short while, over 100 rainbow-like streaks appeared, howling as they headed directly toward Wang Lin's position. At the forefront, four elders floated with a huge gourd above their heads, emitting a green aura, resembling a storm. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged as he sat cross-legged atop the netherworld beast, coldly watching the approaching rainbows without paying them any heed. Wang Lin. The over 100 rainbows suddenly halted in the starry sky. From the group of four elders, a voice of shock rang out. It was the Azure Dragon General. He stared at Wang Lin, particularly at the netherworld beast beneath him, his heart skipping a beat. What kind of beast is this? He didn't recognize the netherworld beast and had no idea that it was the path of the heavens. After all, except for the seven-colored immortal sovereign, no one had seen the true form of the path of the heavens. In everyone's memory, the path of the heavens was just a vast fog. The three figures, vermilion bird, black tortoise, and white tiger, were also shaken, their gazes fixed on Wang Lin and the netherworld beast beneath him. The reason for their shock was that their divine senses had been scattered, and they hadn't detected anything in advance. Had it not been for the sight before their eyes, they would have never believed that Wang Lin would appear here. Even when they used their divine senses to scan, everything still appeared as a peaceful starry sky, as if Wang Lin and the fierce beast beneath him were mere illusions, not truly existing. Such an occurrence was enough to rattle the four of them. They exchanged glances, recognizing the shared shock and confusion. What was even more surprising was the presence of the war ghost, who had been following them from behind. His pupils contracted as he sensed no danger from Wang Lin, but the beast beneath him clearly emanated a terrifying aura, sending a chill down his spine. You call for Wang? What is it? Wang Lin's expression remained calm as his gaze swept over the 100 or so immortals in front of him. Of these, most were insignificant, with only the four great generals worthy of his attention. After his gaze passed over them, Wang Lin noticed the massive gourd floating above the four generals. It subtly exuded immortal energy and was clearly extraordinary. Since we parted back then, I haven't seen you, Wang Daoist. Today, we meet again. May I ask where you are heading? The Azure Dragon General suppressed the shock within him, his gaze flickering as he spoke slowly. Kungsu. Wang Lin spoke two words without further elaboration. Immediately, the netherworld beast beneath him shifted forward, silently and without a trace, floating away. He had no time for these people, whether the four generals or the mysterious war ghost. None were enough to stop Wang Lin from moving forward. However, while he wished to leave, others had different ideas. The four great generals exchanged glances before simultaneously focusing on the netherworld beast beneath Wang Lin, their eyes flashing with a strange light. Wang Daoist, there's no need to rush off. We had an agreement. This time, when we descended, we did not cause any trouble in your immortal realm, nor did we kill anyone in this abode realm. You're leaving in such a hurry. Do you have something urgent to attend to? The Azure Dragon General's body flickered, appearing in front of Wang Lin as he spoke slowly. Wang Lin frowned, coldly staring at him. After a long pause, he spoke two words. Let me go. Don't be angry, Wang Daoist. We mean no harm. It's just that this beast beneath you is quite peculiar. It can avoid all divine senses. Where did you acquire it? The White Tiger General smiled faintly and took a step forward, positioning himself at Wang Lin's right side. At the same time, the Black Tortoise General also moved, appearing on Wang Lin's left side. The Vermilion Bird General hesitated for a moment before sealing off Wang Lin's retreat. Meanwhile, over 100 ancient immortals subtly closed in, surrounding Wang Lin and the netherworld beast. Wang Daoist, we've honored our part of the agreement. Let's not ruin our friendship. Otherwise, Who knows what might happen in your immortal realm? The Black Tortoise General smiled and spoke in a leisurely tone. Wang Lin looked around at the immortals closing in on him, his expression still calm. Wang Daoist, with your Li Guangbao, I'm sure you don't wish to make enemies. Just tell us where this beast came from. The Azure Dragon General's gaze lingered on the Netherworld beast, his eyes hiding a greedy glint. I'm sure even War Daoist is quite interested in the origin of this beast. The Black Tortoise General, the most scheming of them all, smiled as he turned to glance at the War Ghost, who was floating alone at the back, behind the group. The War Ghost slowly revealed a smile. With his age, he was naturally more adept at scheming. He immediately recognized that the real reason the four generals were stopping Wang Lin had more to do with him trailing behind them. Using his presence to create pressure was a trick he had mastered in his youth. And since he was indeed interested in the Netherworld beast, he thought for a moment before nodding. I am indeed very interested in this beast. If Wang Lin, you are willing to part with it, I can agree to one condition. Wang Daoist, you've wasted several Li Guang arrows on this beast. Surely that's not worth it. How many more do you have left? If you tell us where the beast is from, or if you could lend it to me, I'll immediately let you leave. Even if you don't lend it, we're all friends, and I won't stop you. But the cooperation we had might start to falter. There aren't many cultivators left in this abode realm. The Azure Dragon General smiled, speaking slowly. You all are looking for my third soul, but instead come to provoke me. It seems the pain from last time wasn't enough. Fine, today I'll let you feel it again, deep to the bone. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as his body stood up. He raised his left hand, grasping the void, and instantly, a giant heavenly axe appeared with a resounding crash. This was the first time Wang Lin spoke the thoughts of everyone, mentioning the third soul. Such matters had never been discussed with Wang Lin by the four great generals. To them, this was the most secretive issue, and within the abode realm, very few people knew of it. But before they could recover from the shock of Wang Lin's words, his left hand was already raised. The heaven-splitting axe rapidly expanded, instantly becoming several dozen meters large. Wang Lin's body was enveloped by Tao ancient aura, suddenly surging with power. The ancient god's heaven-splitting axe, combined with the strength of Wang Lin's Tao ancient bloodline, made him the most suitable person to wield the axe in the world. Gripping it without hesitation, he swung it downward with a fierce strike. Everything happened in an instant. As the axe descended, the stars above rumbled, and behind Wang Lin, a Tao ancient phantom emerged. The phantom also wielded the axe, roaring as it mimicked Wang Lin's movement. The Azure Dragon General, who was closest, immediately released the aura of his immortal bloodline. A massive azure dragon materialized outside his body, roaring as it charged toward the descending axe. At the same time, the Black Tortoise, Vermilion Bird, and White Tiger Generals simultaneously let out low growls. Their three great phantoms appeared around Wang Lin: the enormous White Tiger, the fiery Vermilion Bird, and the Black Tortoise that stirred up towering waves of earth, all charging toward Wang Lin, roaring as they sought to devour him. Wang Lin remained calm. He wanted these ancient immortals to feel pain and remember this lesson. At this moment, there was no hesitation. Tao ancient power surrounded him, transforming into the Tao ancient indestructible body. As his body rapidly regenerated, Wang Lin's left hand wielded the axe again, cleaving through the air and tearing open a massive rift in front of him. The Azure Dragon struggled beneath the axe's power, finally shattering. As it crumbled, the Azure Dragon General appeared, taking a step forward and charging toward Wang Lin. The four of them joined forces, their divine techniques striking simultaneously toward Wang Lin in an instant. Wang Lin gripped the axe with his left hand, raising it after the strike and sweeping it in a circle. The sound of thunderous collisions reverberated as the giant axe slashed against the divine techniques of the four great generals. The shockwaves from the impact sent the 100 or so immortals around them stumbling back. At the same time, the divine techniques of the four generals pierced through the axe's light, landing directly on Wang Lin. With a deafening boom, the starry sky seemed to collapse. The four generals staggered backward, their expressions full of killing intent. Wang Lin, still standing on the Netherworld beast's back, had withstood the combined assault of the four with his Tao ancient, indestructible body. Your cultivation hasn't fully recovered. You're still only at the late ethereal stage. Such power can't harm my body. Wang Lin took a step forward, moving at an astonishing speed. In an instant, he appeared beside one of the retreating immortals. His right hand tore forward with immense force. The power to rip through the heavens surged, as Wang Lin's right arm, like Yimo's hand, ripped through the air. The immortal had no chance to resist. With a shrill scream, his body collapsed, blood and flesh scattering everywhere. Even the two immortals behind him couldn't escape the range of the tear. Their bodies collapsed as well, and their soul essences were directly torn apart. Wang Lin's body flickered. In the instant the four great generals closed in, he slipped through the rift and appeared behind another group of immortals not far away. Tear the heavens, Wang Lin shouted as he raised his right hand. With another violent rip, 7 or 8 immortals exploded in a shower of blood under the deafening cries of agony. The four great generals roared in fury, their divine techniques filling the starry sky. They charged at Wang Lin with blinding speed, but under the power of his Tao ancient indestructible body, they collided with him once more, only for Wang Lin to step forward and appear in front of another group of immortals. In the horrified gazes of the immortals, their bodies burned with excruciating pain. Unable to resist or evade, they exploded in a burst of blood mist. Wang Lin, I will slaughter your immortal realm. The Azure Dragon General roared, his eyes filled with rage, but also disbelief at Wang Lin's methods and the astonishing strength of his body. The lesson from blood doesn't seem enough. Wang Lin turned around and stepped back onto the Netherworld beast. As the war ghost neared, he wiped the blood from his right hand and patted the Netherworld beast. Devour them. The moment the words left Wang Lin's mouth, the war ghost froze in place. At the same time, the Netherworld beast's eyes snapped open. The cold, merciless gaze from those eyes sent a shiver through everyone present. In that instant, as the Azure Dragon General locked eyes with the Netherworld beast, his mind exploded with shock. He had seen such a gaze before, long ago, when he witnessed it devour even Lien Daofei. The Azure Dragon General, along with the other 3 generals, were stunned, but before they could process the shock, the Netherworld beast obeyed Wang Lin's command, opening its massive jaws and devouring the starry sky in one sudden gulp. If the starry sky were the world would change its colors. If the stars were the winds and clouds would reverse. At this moment, a dense fog suddenly filled the entire starry sky. This fog spread everywhere, carrying with it an ancient, weathered aura that was unmistakably felt by everyone present. It was at this moment that a massive suction force held into action. Around the 4 great generals, and in the vicinity of Wang Lin, the remaining 70 to 80 immortals turned pale. Their bodies were uncontrollably sucked in, their fearful, sharp screams echoing as they were all swallowed by the massive mouth of the Netherworld beast. Everything happened in an instant and ended just as quickly. It was so fast that no one had time to react. It felt as though the fog suddenly overtook everything, followed by the horrifying screams that spiraled in the air. Once everything was over, the starry sky remained unchanged, and the fog vanished as if it had never been there, leaving no trace behind. However, only 5 people remained, aside from Wang Lin. Will you remember this pain? Wang Lin stood atop the Netherworld beast, his expression unchanged from beginning to end. His voice was not loud, but the moment it reached the ears of the 5, including the war ghost, their minds shook in unison. Heavenly Tao. This is the Heavenly Tao. The Azure Dragon General trembled, fear overtaking him like a tidal wave. He had never been so terrified before, not even when he witnessed Wang Lin's bow being drawn. The Heavenly Tao? It's actually with you? The Black Tortoise General, known for his deep cunning, stood stunned, his fear no less than that of the Azure Dragon General, but even more intense. He could clearly feel the Heavenly Tao's devouring power earlier, and that force was enough to drown him. Within his heart, it wasn't just fear and shock, but also a sense of helplessness. Wang Lin had become a terrifying existence in his eyes, one that could dominate everything. The White Tiger General and Vermilion Bird General stood frozen as though paralyzed by a spell. I had my eyes on the heavenly Tao. No wonder I couldn't sense its aura, no wonder. In the distance, the war ghost's pupils contracted, unable to hide his shock. The seven-colored soul within him surged forth, taking control of his body. His expression twisted, and soon the aura of the seven-colored immortal sovereign spread, his gaze now full of deep caution as he stared at Wang Lin. If this were not in the abode realm, he wouldn't fear the heavenly Tao, but here, everything was different. The heavenly Tao was the very foundation of this realm. Controlling the heavenly Tao meant controlling everything. However, even so, the heavenly Tao's devouring power had its limits. Otherwise, it wouldn't have split under Lien Daofei's self-detonation. The war ghost believed he had ways to resist it, but now, his thoughts were occupied by something else. You found the third soul. The war ghost spoke bitterly, his voice filled with desolation, but it wasn't his own voice. It was the voice of the seven-colored soul. I haven't found it. Wang Lin shook his head. The netherworld beast beneath him coldly glanced at the five, then closed its eyes and drifted away into the distance. As it passed by the four great generals, the four trembled and stepped back, clearing the way. They dared not impede its path. They watched as Wang Lin and the netherworld beast disappeared into the distant starry sky, remaining motionless for a long time. They might have the means to stand up to the war ghost, whose body also housed the seven-colored soul, but in the face of Wang Lin's heavenly Tao, all they could do was remain silent. Wang Lin sat upon the netherworld beast as it drifted toward the Kungsu star domain. His expression was calm, but inside, he couldn't help but sigh. Could the heavenly Tao still be incomplete? The four great generals are manageable, but the war ghost, the netherworld beast, just conveyed an unwillingness to devour him. Meanwhile, in the Kungsu star domain, the starry sky flickered with seven-colored rays. The seven-colored Taoist walked forward, holding 9 blood-sized spheres in his hands. The 9 Shin bloodline is finally complete. With these 9 Shin blood forces, I can create the wheel of reincarnation and locate the third soul that fled into it. He should be in Kungsu. At the same time, in the Immortal Ridge continent, in a mountainous region where peaks were steep and densely covered by trees, a place resembling a wild, untamed land, the night was dark, yet the stars shone brightly, casting their light upon the ground. The surrounding area was not silent. Occasionally, the howls of fierce beasts echoed from the dense forest. Long ago, within these mountains, there existed a sect of immortals known as the Seven Paths sect. In the bright moon hanging in the sky, ripples appeared, as if twisting the moon itself. Slowly, a lonely figure emerged, a young man with black hair. This young man appeared weary, but as he gazed at the land below, a wide smile broke out on his face, full of anticipation. It was as if, for him, reaching this place was worth any sacrifice. I am from the Dao Ancient clan, child. I have come to take you home. The journey ahead may be difficult, but I know you will not fear it. The young man smiled as he walked toward the mountains. In the long history of Kungsu, from the birth of Wang Lin on the Vermilion Bird Star to the present, spanning more than 2,000 years, Kungsu has experienced 2 wars. The first was the battle against Luo Tian, where countless lives were lost and chaos reigned. However, when compared to the second war, it was insignificant. The second war was a battle between the inner realm and the outer realm. In this war, Kungsu was reduced to a desolate wasteland, with both cultivators and mortals alike crying out in despair. Many cultivation stars that were once full of life collapsed into the dust of the cosmos. The brilliant stars that shone before the war are now silent, their once bright radiance replaced by a grayish fog, a dust that blankets the heavens. Cultivation stars, savage stars, and even the abandoned stars, few remain, but some have endured, remaining aloof from the war, neither participating nor being destroyed. In the vast sea of stars, there exists a cultivation star that slowly turns in the sky. This star is green, with dense trees covering its surface, as if cloaked in a garment of shade. It is a cultivation star brimming with spiritual energy, so rich that even the once glorious Tianyun star pales in comparison. Surrounding it, there are no satellites, only 5 distinct colored halos. These 5 halos intersect, blooming in a riot of colors like a flower in full bloom, emitting a mesmerizing, dreamlike aura that makes the star appear extraordinarily beautiful from afar. The planet is home to countless mortals, likely over 1 billion, who live in peace, untouched by the ravages of war. Such a place is rare in Xun'er, in the inner realm. Perhaps due to the richness of spiritual energy, the mortals here rarely fall ill, their bodies mostly healthy and quite beautiful. Over generations of living on this cultivation star, some of these mortals have developed cultivator physiques, a rare occurrence on such a planet. This star is known as the 5-element star. The 5-element star has only one sect, a simple one called the Unity sect. Unity here likely refers to the convergence of the 5 elements. In the Xun'er star domain, the 5-element star is a mysterious place. Although it exists within the starry sky, it is incredibly difficult to locate. Even the Cultivation Alliance, if unaware of its exact coordinates, would be unable to find it. Even with divine sense spread out, it would appear as if nothing were there, like the Netherworld beast. This peculiarity is why the star has remained untouched by the 2 great wars. However, there was an incident during the war between the inner and outer realms when a group of several hundred cultivators from the outer realm accidentally entered, and they were never seen again. This is the 5-element star, mysterious and unpredictable. Wang Lin possesses the coordinates of the 5-element star, a gift from NATO over 1,000 years ago, along with an invitation. At this moment, he sat on the back of the Netherworld beast in the starry sky, holding a jade slip and carefully determining the direction of the 5-element star. NATO's invitation came over 1,000 years ago. A lot can change in that time. Wang Lin withdrew his divine sense from the jade slip, sighed softly, and transmitted his thoughts to the Netherworld beast. The beast swayed forward and drifted into the distance. On the way to the 5-element star, Wang Lin often reminisced about the past. His acquaintance with NATO began with a storage bag, and after being pursued and nearly meeting his end, it was only through the manifestation of his ultimate strength that he survived. NATO has the 5-colored extreme realm. Wang Lin murmured as the Netherworld beast, still floating, slowly entered a star domain that was unfamiliar to Wang Lin. Perhaps this star domain, if viewed from the outside, could not be sensed. Even with high cultivation, one would be unable to perceive it with divine sense, as if it were detached from Xun'er. Right before Wang Lin, he saw the dazzling 5-element star, blooming like a magnificent flower. Upon seeing the star, Wang Lin couldn't help but show a look of fascination. The halos around the 5-element star were beautiful. He had seen many cultivation stars, but none were as stunning as this one. This star does not belong to the abode realm. Wang Lin closed his eyes. As the Lord of Heavenly Tao, he could also feel the thoughts of the Netherworld beast beneath him. The reason this star cannot be sensed by others, the reason it seems to be detached from Xun'er, is because this cultivation star does not belong to the abode realm. Those foreign cultivators, after entering here, brought this cultivation star from the immortal firmament continent using divine techniques I don't understand. As Wang Lin closed his eyes and merged with the heavenly Tao, when he opened them again, his gaze was clear. Rising from the back of the Netherworld beast, Wang Lin took a step toward the starry sky, allowing the Netherworld beast to float in place. Wang Lin walked toward the brilliant cultivation star ahead. As he drew near, 5 radiant halos outside the 5-element star instantly flickered with dazzling light. Suddenly, they swirled outward, spinning rapidly and emitting a whistling sound, blocking Wang Lin from entering. Wang Lin paused and gazed at the 5-element star within the intersecting halos. After a brief silence, he slowly spoke. NATO, I have come today to fulfill the promise made long ago. Wang Lin's voice was calm, reverberating in all directions. It echoed within the intersecting halos, deeply entering the 5-element star. It resounded like muffled thunder across the cultivation star's sky, shaking the earth and reaching the ears of every living being, as if it were the will of heaven. The moment his voice spread, all creatures on the cultivation star stopped everything they were doing. Mortals and cultivators alike, even the beasts in the forest, all trembled at the sound. Wang Lin stood calmly outside the halos, waiting for a response. After a long while, a hoarse voice came from within the cultivation star. The voice carried a deep shock and hidden fear. Elder Nato closed himself in a death meditation 1,000 years ago, isolated from worldly affairs. We cannot wake him. What is your purpose in seeking him? Who are you? Wang Lin remained silent for a moment, slightly shook his head, and spoke softly. I am Yin Dongshin, vice sect leader of the Unity sect. While the sect leader and elders are in closed-door meditation, I am responsible for all matters of the sect. I know your identity, but Elder Nato cannot leave his meditation. Please leave. The hoarse voice became even more cautious, and after Wang Lin remained silent for a while, the words were finally formed. Wang Lin's gaze passed through the 5 elements halos, faintly seeing the 5 elements star. After a long moment, his expression remained unchanged as he spoke calmly. He knows I have come. With that, Wang Lin took a step forward, walking toward the rapidly spinning 5 elements halos. The moment he moved, the hoarse voice, now sharp and full of fear, immediately shouted out. Your status is noble, but the 5 elements star is not a place you can enter at will. If you force your way in, I will activate the 5 elements convergence array. The formation is merciless. Before the hoarse voice could finish, an overwhelmingly domineering divine sense suddenly swept out from within the 5 elements star. The divine sense rushed forward, sending a thunderous roar that drowned out the hoarse voice and carried an extremely arrogant mental will. The 5 elements formation. If you can break through, you may enter the 5 elements star. Stop with the nonsense. If you dare, enter. If you don't, then leave. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, ignoring the words. He maintained his steady pace, step by step, and when his body touched the intersecting halos, a booming sound suddenly echoed from his body. The sound was intense, as though countless divine abilities were crashing into Wang Lin in that instant. These divine abilities emanated from the 5 halos, containing the power of the 5 elements: fire, water, metal, earth, and wood, whirling around him. The moment Wang Lin stepped into the formation, 9 towering peaks in the eastern part of the 5 elements star arranged in a circular pattern formed the entrance to the Unity sect. These 9 peaks pierced the sky like 9 sharp swords, radiating an air of desolation that spread over a radius of 1,000,000 miles. Within this 1,000,000-mile radius, there were no mortals or living beings. The ground was pitch black. In the center of the 9 peaks stood a colossal tower that surpassed the height of the mountains. With 99 floors, this tower was the Unity sect. The entire Unity sect existed within this vast tower, a feature unique to this sect compared to any other cultivation sect in the realm. At this moment, long rainbows flew out from the 30 lower levels of the tower, filling the surrounding space. Each rainbow contained a cultivator, with varying levels of cultivation, mostly at the first step, with few reaching the second. As the rainbows surrounded the area, these cultivators all looked up at the sky, their expressions mostly showing disdain. After all the cultivators had flown out from the lower 30 levels, nearly 100 more cultivators flew out from the middle 30 levels. These were mostly elderly figures, their eyes flashing with brilliance, their cultivation impressive, mostly at the second step. They stood calmly, taking their places around the 9 peaks, gazing at the sky. In their eyes, there was still disdain. They did not believe anyone could easily pass through the Unity sect's star protection array. At the very top of the tower, on the 10th floor, 4 people sat cross-legged. One of them wore a black robe, with a mole under his right eye. His expression was extremely domineering as he coldly snorted. Even if he is Wang Lin, so what? In this abode realm, aside from the 7-colored soul, there is no one worthy of our attention. The 5 elements grand formation. If I were to step inside, I could only last as long as an incense stick. He may have higher cultivation than me, but there's no way he can pass all 5 trials. I actually hope he can pass all 5 trials. At that time, this formation will be fully activated, triggering the 9 revolutions 5 elements unification art. Within these 9 revolutions, I wonder how many revolutions he will be able to endure. Sitting next to the elderly man in black was a middle-aged woman. Her expression was harsh, her voice sharp, and she chuckled.